So next up is our first deep dive with Dr. Noorie Rajvanshi. She's Director of Sustainability and Climate Strategy at Siemens. In this session, we will dive into how the private sector is contributing to improving air quality. At Siemens, Noorie is responsible for supporting the strategy and execution of Siemens US's decarbonization plan to achieve carbon neutral operations by 2030. So over to you for a talk on corporate action for improving air quality. Noorie.
All right. Thank you, Camille, for this kind introduction, and I'm happy to be here. So if you've been listening in today, you've already heard from many distinguished speakers about the impacts of poor air quality on human, animal, and planet health, and about the disparities across neighborhoods and regions. And no doubt, many of you have personally been experiencing some of these ill effects of poor air quality in the region, mainly due to wildfires. I'm here today to chat about the role that corporations can play, and in particular, some examples from Siemens in improving air quality. Traditionally, we've seen that air quality has been the main focus for local and federal governments and for agencies like CARB, who you heard from during a panel earlier today. And these agencies have been tasked with enforcing and implementing policies related to air pollution. And other stakeholders like the private sector has always played the role through their own compliance with these regulations, but I believe it's time for the private sector to be more vocal about this issue and take an active role in this discussion. And I don't think we have to reiterate the fact that we all agree that access to clean air is a basic human right. And these sentiments are echoed by our Chief Sustainability Officer and board member, Judith Wieser, whose quote you can see on the right. She basically says that we agree with United Nations, UNEP and the United Nations position that access to a healthy environment is a human right. And reducing pollution is therefore not just an ecological issue, but it's also a matter of social justice. It also helps that investing in air quality improvement can deliver double benefits. Both health and climate change gains. So many global corporations, including Siemens, have already made climate commitments to become net zero in our operations by 2030. And improvements in air quality can help us accelerate our progress towards this goal. We are also tied to communities through our employees and customers. And air pollution is an issue that, unlike climate change, is localized, it's immediate, and it can tangibly affect people in their communities today. So we have a chance to make an impact locally through the improvements in air quality and at the same time promote equity. We've also seen that cities with severe air pollution are seen as less desirable places to work, and thereby they can negatively impact talent recruitment for companies like Siemens. And businesses may increasingly see the need to offer compensation packages to lure potential employees. So it's in our benefit to improve air qualities in these places. And finally, air pollution reduces productivity, and a new wave of studies and reports have shown these impacts as well. And I feel all of these reasons are more than enough to convince you all that why private sector has a major role to play here. And now moving on to, so that answers the question why, but now we move on to how do we do this? And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about one of the ways that Siemens has been active in this space, which is technology. The first example I'd like to share is from London's ultra-low emission zone. Many of you might have heard about this. Since 2019, Siemens has been working with the City of London to create this ultra-low emission zone. And this zone basically prevents any vehicles that don't meet strict emission requirements from entering into a central zone. And if these vehicles do enter, they have to pay a daily charge. The main purpose of this creating this zone is to improve air quality by reducing the number of older and more polluting vehicles that might enter the central zone. And then this is done through a technology called automatic number plate recognition, or ANPR. And the data that is collected is then analyzed and processed to ensure that appropriately the charges and penalties are applied to the vehicles. And in just 10 months of implementation of this zone, the city has seen significant improvements in air quality in this region. They have calculated that we've seen about 15% reduction in PM 2.5 and even higher reduction in NO2. And I just saw earlier this week that the mayor of London is now thinking about expanding this ultra low emission zone just from the central district to the whole city. So I would consider that as a success. And you might have heard about cities like New York, who are also thinking about implementing these congestion charging in different regions within the city. Another technology that we are also working on is integrated air quality measurement system for traffic management applications. So with sensors sitting on top of traffic signal controllers and collecting information about air quality and as well as traffic data, this data can be then used for monitoring and then making decisions about the right traffic interventions. And this can be done in real time and could have positive impacts on improving air quality. These two are just a couple of examples of the digital tools. And other measuring and monitoring tools like these can be then used to gather data and then provide short and long-term solutions for improving air quality. As just one more example, I want to share a tool we call City Air Management Tool. This tool can forecast 5 days in future the air quality. So you can, the city can look for poor air quality days using information on past traffic and weather information, weather data. And then they can actively use this information to decide the appropriate strategies for intervention. As an example, offering free public transit days when the air quality is really poor, or putting in maybe temporary driving bans on diesel vehicles in certain zones, or maybe even shutting down parking lots to discourage driving are just examples of some of these interventions. And then something that one of the panelists in the earlier panel also mentioned is about communicating this information to the residents, right? So this kind of insights the private sector, who are not just providing tools, knowledge and monitoring services, can partner with city decision makers to implement these strategies, but also help them communicate and engage the residents. And then that brings me to another way that private sector has started engaging in this air quality conversation beyond just being a technology provider. So Siemens is a founding member of Alliance for Clean Air, which is an initiative from World Economic Forum. And this initiative was launched during COP26 last year in Glasgow. We are one of the 10 founding members, and you can see the list of other members here on the right. And the main mission of this group is to make a corporate movement for clean air to accelerate climate action, and in the process, create healthy communities around the world. What this means is measuring our own footprint. It means setting targets to actively reduce emissions. It means educating employees, customers, and communities about impacts of air pollution. And it also means using our assets to innovate new solutions for cleaner air. So in summary, basically, I just want to say that this is all about private sector taking responsibility. And we have already been a technology provider in this space for a long time, but now we are all about building partnerships that go beyond technology. This means being a champion for cleaner air in the community that we work and live, through our employees, customers, and many times through our extended supply chain. Our superpower is technology. So we want to use it to accelerate innovation and pilot clean air solutions wherever we have a footprint. And finally, use it to amplify and scale these solutions, not just through our own network, but maybe through other members of this Alliance for Clean Air. That's all I want to say. And I want to thank you all for inviting me. And I want to just wrap up and give my contact information, and happy to answer any questions as well.
Thank you so much, Noorie. That was really a wonderful, thorough, and really accessible presentation. We're grateful to you and to Siemens for your leadership and appreciate your commitment to healthy air quality and grounding that in the framework of human rights. That's really inspiring.